Hey guys, Aaron Hensley with Rise USA. I'm joined here with Jarrod Glandt, who is the president of Grant Cardone Enterprises. He's been with the company pretty much one of the first people, a part of the team there, and he's taken it from doing $2 million of revenue to doing, I believe you said $700 million a year right now, all in.
Yeah, but collectively between all the companies, I'm not in charge of everything, but you know, there was three of us when I started, and what we did in the beginning gave birth to everything that exists today. So it's been incredible.
See, he's a little humble right there because you say I know your hands are not in everything, but you couldn't have gotten to that without those first three people, right? Like so, you're integral, and all that.
I would say I was integral.
Uh, Hey, here's what I'm excited about today. First of all, I can't say thank you enough for doing this.
Hmm.
Um, I came across Grant, I believe, the first time probably around 2016 through YouTube. Um, and one of the things that Grant has done really well, he tells your story continually, even to this day. He tells your story kind of from where you started to where you are now. And there was something that I recognized in you that I want to give you a lot of credit for that I really can't think of too many other examples in this position, which is this. Uh, I see it in sports more than business, maybe because I follow sports for a long time. Um, but I'll see someone who is a dominant player, a Grant, for example. And of course, we know that that person can't be who they are without having a great team behind them. And a lot of times they're next in command, the number two, at some point, feels like they've learned enough, they're ready to do their own thing. They leave, and almost without a doubt, that person tends to fail. And I say sports because every time someone leaves Bill Belichick, they're the offensive coordinator. You know, the Patriots back in the day when Brady was there, they'd leave to go be the head coach somewhere, and they didn't recognize that being a head coach, you're not coaching anymore. You're actually managing people, and that wasn't their
Yeah,
skill.
yeah,
And I've seen it in business, in my own industry, coming from the martial arts world. As somebody was under someone, they would leave to go do their own school. They come to find out they're making less money, working more hours, because they're not able to do the thing they were great at. I don't know, and I guess it's kind of a question, and also maybe a little bit of a kudos to you at the same time. Is I don't know if there's ever been that time where you thought about trying to figure out the world on your own, so to speak. But I would also say that you found a way to be, I guess I don't know if you would consider yourself the number two in command or however you see yourself in that role, but um, it's been pretty awesome to watch someone ride with someone, not their coattails, whatever. See, a lot of people call it a negative thing, but I think you've gotten a lot of education, information, benefit, financial growth as well too. Um, so I guess my question wrapped all in that. I want to say, first of all, it's awesome to see someone who can do that because I've got
appreciate
Cameron
that.
behind the
Yeah.
computer here, and I feel like Cameron is my Jarrod in a lot of ways. Um, what was it a part of you that you saw that this was your best opportunity that was in front of you that you could become the greatest at being in that role? And did you ever think about doing your own thing? And how did you
I
handle
mean,
that?
of course. I mean, like it wouldn't be human to do that. I think, and I think that's and just um, recognizing that is something that's just like the normal course is just part of the game. I think that sometimes people have illusions about how easy things would be, or they take for granted the environment that they're in, like you were saying before. This is a magic little operation that we have here, and you know the success that all of us are able to create here is because of Grant. It's not because of one person. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't amazing people here or that I don't have a great skill set, but it just means that we've, when I started, the business was doing 2 million bucks a year. That's not no money.
All
That's,
right.
compared to where we're at now, it
Well,
seems
also
like
that
nothing.
was 14 years ago. So I mean, that's probably equal to 10 million right now, right? I mean, that was
Yeah, for sure. So it's
yeah,
like we weren't starting at zero,
right.
and I think that's as starting a business, going from zero to a million is like the hardest thing to do in the world until you've done it before, which is why you probably struggled the first few years in the martial arts business, and then once you exited that and you started this new thing, like you popped to a million in year one, is because you actually understand the roadmap and the path to get there. And so, back to the main question of, like, have you ever thought about leaving? Number one, of course, like it wouldn't be normal not to. People have offered me jobs, paying me more money, offering me big equity. Like all those things have come over the last 14 years. Um, but I don't know if it makes me humble if I say that I'm humble, but like growing up, my mom used to always tell me, she's like, pride comes before a fall. And, I've probably undersold myself more often than I've oversold myself in life. And then even in just my own, I don't know if you want to call it insecurities or reality, like, I've always just said, hey, look, like there are real challenges if you go try to do something new. There's huge risk if you go try to do that. And, I'll say that it probably would have gotten a lot more consideration over the years if I didn't see what we were doing was working. And not just for the customer, but I mean, obviously it has to work for the customer, for the company to work, but we continued to grow. And it was like, if you're on a dynasty team or Tom Brady comes in after Bledsoe gets hurt and he comes into the game, and in his mind, his whole career, he's been saying in the NFL, the second that guy comes out and I go on the field, I'm never coming off. Like just having that confidence of saying like, and then when the team sees that, and then they see the team once he gets in the game continue to progress, and then they go into dynasty mode, and then they start, they're in the playoffs and the AFC championship every year, and then they're winning Super Bowls. It's like, dude, you're an idiot if you get off that train. And some people do in sports because of money.
Right.
Now they're on contracts, whatever, but look what happens later in people's career, especially if they've got talent. They take less money to go on a team that's going to win.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
And so, I think that understanding, I have a lot of reality having worked with a lot of business owners, how hard it is. I see how many businesses fail.
Yeah, and even great businesses,
Oh my
right?
gosh, who knows? Like who knew COVID was going to happen? A lot of businesses that were doing great got freaking wiped out because of COVID, and nobody could have predicted that.
Right.
You see, I worked in the mortgage business for a little bit in 2000, like middle 2008. And it was like the first like 2 months, it was great. And then the world fell apart. And, so there's things that happen that are just unexpected. And so two things I'll say. Number one is if you're a business owner, like you have to make sure you are creating enough opportunity for the people in your company so that they don't look for other places to get where they want to go. Because the second you cap out opportunity for somebody working for you, that's when they start getting curious. They're showing up, they're doing the same thing every day, they're making the same money they've been making. If they're a growth-minded person, if they're a great person, that ain't going to last. And, like,
But you said something though a minute ago, like people offered you more money, but you stayed anyway. So I'm assuming that's because you saw a vision or opportunity more than money, right? Because
well, there's trade-offs, bro. Like, okay, let's say I'm making $1 million a year and somebody says, hey, I can get you to $1 million your first year. I'll guarantee you that. And, you'll probably be at 2 or 3 million in 2 or 3 years after that. Number one, no matter who it is, I don't know how they are running a business.
true.
Like you could be my friend, I could know you, but you could be a totally different person in your business. Your business could be a mess. You could have a bunch of problems going on in your life that I don't know about. Like there's so many risks. And then what happens if, the rosy picture that they're painting when you get there, it ain't that. And I've seen that happen a lot of times. Like I've literally, because of my role, like I've seen so many people like jump around and end up struggling. And some people jump and they crush it, but far more people move to the next thing and it doesn't work out. So does that mean I'll never take a risk? No, but that is a consideration. I'm a practical person who's going to make a logic-based decision. I'm like, okay, well, I'll make as much money as I'm making now or more money. They're guaranteeing it for a year, but then what?
Sure.
Like I'm going to throw away 10 years or 7 years or whatever along the way, wherever I was at. I'm going to throw that all away to go try to do something new. Now, again, if we had stagnated, if we stalled out, if if Grant wasn't interested and engaged in building something big and he wasn't selling that vision, man, a lot of those conversations would have gotten more thought. But they were actually very quick no's because I'm real about it. So if you're a business owner, you got to keep creating opportunity for people. If you're an employee, you have to look for the opportunity to create it within the company if the business owner isn't showing it. And that's not because they don't want you to have it. It's because maybe they're not thinking about it. Maybe you're more committed than they know you are. And so like I created a program called the Millionaire Employee Method here. And the whole purpose of it was, look, you don't need to go work somewhere else if you want to make more money. The easiest place to start is to start where you're at. And then how can you get creative? What value can you bring? What opportunity do you see that maybe the business owner doesn't? And, so my recommendation for an employee is always, where is there more opportunity that you're just not finding in the business now? And then when you find those opportunities, you have to be able to take them to the business owner and say, hey man, I found this opportunity. I want to do this. Here's what I think it can do. You've planned out, you've researched, you've strategized how you think it's possible. And you say, hey, look, man, here's what I think we can do. And if I do that, here's what I'd like in return. Are you game for that? Now, if they keep shutting you down and they keep stagnating you, again, they're blocking you from the next opportunity. And then the other question you got to ask yourself is, why are they saying no? Are they saying no because they don't have trust, faith, and confidence in me and that I can actually do it? Okay, good. Tell you what, Aaron, I'm going to do this for you for free for 3 months. And if I hit this, we come back, we do a new deal where if I do this, you do that. You've got nothing to lose. How's that sound?
Here's something I love right now. Automatically you go into coaching. Like that's because of the environment you work in, right? Like, I mean, I'm writing notes down and the one note I actually wrote down was, people love to be reminded things. And you said a bunch of stuff that I do know and you're just reminding me and I'm writing it down. But you went into coaching mode immediately because it's just your environment, which Cameron and I had this conversation yesterday. It's like every time we've been to, whether it be a growth con or a boot camp or any event like that, we always talk like, man, what would it be like to be in an environment all the time like this around these kind of people? And so you do get to live that life a little bit.
Well, and look, like I actually really enjoy helping people. Like I've always been like people come to me and they ask for stuff. They're like, hey man, I'll pay you 10 grand to jump on a call. I'm like, bro, I don't want your money. You're my friend. You need help. Like, what do you want to talk about? Like I've always enjoyed helping people. So I think for me that's why I enjoy the thing that I'm doing here so much, is because I get to help a lot of people and we get to make money. And so, coaching is really just mentorship, advice, where you're leveraging the experience that you have. And so for me, it's like,
I'm saying, I tell them that education is free. You're not paying for the education, right? Because I'll do the same. I help anybody with information education, but they're paying for the execution of. That's what you pay. Like you go to the doctor, they'll tell you something's wrong with you. You want them to fix it. That's what you're paying for, right? Like you go to the attorney, they might sit and look at your stuff, but you want them to actually go to court. That's when they charge you, right?
1000%.
Hey, a side note here. Like I said, I got Cameron's my Jarrod over here. Cameron met his wife. She's a real estate agent for EXP. They met at a boot camp a couple years ago, which is pretty awesome. She lived in the state of Washington. He was in South Carolina, and they were doing the long distance thing. And I asked him how real is this? Is this the one? He said, yeah. So they had a call with Dave Robards, and I said, hey Cameron, I said, if this is the one, like you better let me know. He's like, yeah, it's the one. I says, well, we're gonna find out. So I called her. I says, look, you're not stealing my guy from me. So you got to come here. If I give you a job, so you don't have to worry about money right now, you don't, that's going to be the stopgap.
Yeah, for sure.
You got to tell me yes right now. And she said yes, of course. And they moved here and then they got married. Awesome. Now this has only been not even 2 years yet. 2 years in August, right? And in that 2 years, they've moved to 4 states to follow me where I'm going, starting this new path. So that's an all-in type. I mean,
well, look, I'll tell you, you mentioned this before, like you got to move, like opportunity moves. It doesn't stay in one place. And because it's constantly changing, innovation, markets, economy, like the opportunity is always moving. And that's one of the biggest, I think it's one of the biggest anchors literally that people have in life, is they get stuck in one place. I've moved So let's see. I've moved from the time I was 23 or 22, because I grew up in San Diego. I moved from San Diego to Austin, from Austin back to San Diego, back to Austin again. There's a story behind that. Then
Probably a woman involved, maybe.
no, it was actually my grandpa, who's passed away, but he paid for me to go to college. And I didn't finish because I kept working through school, and I was getting sales jobs, making 200 grand a year at 20 years old. And it was
And blowing it.
yeah, it was really, yeah, I'm blowing it. And it was hard to go to school. I'm like, dude, I'm making more money than my dad is right now. And so I had to go back and finish. And then I went back. And so then I wanted to be back in California, moved back to San Diego, moved to Los Angeles, got started with Grant, then moved from LA to Miami. And since I've been in Miami, I've moved probably 6 or 7 times.
Right now, I don't feel bad for you because you've lived in some of the best places to live. So,
oh yeah. I mean, that always was made it easy. My wife's from Philadelphia and she moved down because,
yeah.
she don't want to deal with the weather up there. Like
No.
I've never, it was funny because we had a flight got canceled because of some weather, some snow recently. And I was like, I've never lived in a place where the weather has impacted my daily life. Like I've never, it flooded one day here, but because we got a bunch of rain, but like that was like an anomaly.
Yeah.
And so, look, you just got to move, and it's such an uncomfortable thing for people, but that's actually where you start becoming, I think you become a more powerful person because you open yourself up to say yes to things based on the opportunity and how it can get you where you want to go. And too many people, you go back to your hometown, same people, same deals, they're doing the same shit. Like, it's just like, it's just their life is just on repeat. And, Jesse Itzler said something one time that really struck me. And he was like, routines make your life go by fast. And that's why he does all that wild stuff, because he's like, I want to do a bunch of new things that challenge me in new ways. And so I always was like, oh, that's really interesting.
Which that does become a routine in itself, though, right?
It does. It does.
Kind of, but yeah, you hack a system.
Yeah.
Hey,
so
I'm going to jump here real quick. I'm going to ask this because, obviously you work for a powerhouse person, almost larger than life. And you've been there for 14 years. So I'm sure, without a doubt, because I've seen it just from the periphery.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've seen a lot of evolution, not just in yourself and the company, but with Grant the man. And I don't really want to make this conversation about Grant. I want to really be about Jarrod. So I want it from that perspective.
Yeah.
I've heard, and look, I've been taking in content to the point that I think I could be Grant if I needed to be.
Yeah.
And during that content, what I've seen from the outside, I've seen a guy who breaks through and just crashes, and then you're the guy, and probably, of course, you got a great team. But even on some of the times where you guys are doing the episodes together, you're always with a smile. And I know, like, I've been in boot camps sometimes where he's kind of like putting the pressure on you in front of everybody, and you have the smile.
Yeah.
Right. You do a great job not letting it get. And I'm sure at times it has to feel like it's, because I know I've done that to Cameron, where we're in front of 1,000 people at an event, and I'm like, this, like, I know it's got to feel a certain way. You do a great job of being in that role you need to be in. So the evolution from the powerhouse that you work with, how have you, I want to know if it's a skill that you've learned. Is it something you had where did you come with thick skin? How do you talk yourself up, or how do you do that? Like, how do you just,
well, I mean, look, here's
when
the
it feels like
thing about
sometimes Grant. I would want to fight,
Yeah, no, but that, because that's how Grant is. You and him probably have the same personality profile, like short attention span, make fast decisions, very aggressive, will act without a lot of information.
They're clapping
yeah,
over here. They're clapping.
Yeah, because people are like that. But me, like, I'm a less reactive person. Like I can receive something and then, you know, like if Graham was just a dick all the time, it would be different. But he'll crack on me hard, and then 60 seconds later, we're laughing about something. Like he doesn't hold grudges. He doesn't hang stuff over people. Like, you know, if he's wrong and he cracks me, like immediately he'll be like, oh yeah, dude, I'm wrong. Never mind. Forget, like, be like, this is the worst email I've ever seen. God dang it. What? Like, we got to be better than this, blah, 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 blah. And I'll just be like, okay, I understand. I understand. I understand. And then I'll wait till he's done. And I'll just say, Grant, by the way, that was our highest click-through email that we sent in the last 3 weeks. And he'll be like, oh, really? And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, okay, well, I'm wrong. Forget about what I said. And then he moves on. And so like, he doesn't hang, like some people have the intensity, but they don't fix it. They don't come around on the other side. And then they have things that hang with them that like where there will be maybe some resentment that gets drug along. Like, you know, like my wife is amazing. You know, with the relationships that I've had, I just seen how women, you know, have the tendency to hang on to things. Like they can't just get over something right away. They hang on to it because they're more emotional, right?
Very true.
But you know, the reality is, you know, like Brandon says, you know, the only emotion you should have in your business is
Celebration.
celebration. Like, because it really shouldn't be emotional. And that doesn't mean that we don't get emotional about what we believe in. And me and Grant will argue or debate a thing to do, but like that's it. Like, and then he gets pissed if something's busted and it's wrong, but then we go fix it. It's not, again, it's not something that I take personal. And in the beginning,
but were you that way from day one?
Well, here's the difference. In the beginning, like, man, I didn't know anything. And like, I was like, okay, dude, I'm coming here. I know this looks like a small organization. There's not a lot of people here. There's not a lot of organization. There's no systems. There's not a lot of direction on the product or what we're doing every day. Like it was just like,
sounds like a conversation we just had this morning here.
It was like getting started from square one, because at the time, the 2 million he was making was because he had 4 guys that would go throughout the year and they'd each put on 2 seminars. They'd market them, they'd sell the tickets, they'd fill the rooms, and then he would come in, fly in, do his deal, sell products, and then bounce. And so like he didn't have to have the infrastructure because those guys were doing all the other work as contractors, right? So when I came in, there was not a lot of organization or structure or anything. But what I did know is I'm like, this guy knows how to make money. Like, look at this big house he lives in. Leo DiCaprio lives next door. I mean, this is an expensive house, a big neighborhood. He's got this real estate stuff. I mean, this guy, he's making more money than anybody that I knew at the time. And I was getting to work with him every day. So for me, it was shut up, don't have an opinion, and do exactly what he says to do. And so I just would literally duplicate everything that he told me. I wouldn't think about it. I wouldn't ask about it. Like, I wouldn't do anything. I would just do it. And then over time that starts working. And, you know, if I wasn't so focused on becoming great, then all of that, the cracking and all of the punching and all that, him banging on me, you know, like that stuff probably would have been taken personally. And for the people that weren't on the same mission as I was, that have come into the organization where he cracks on them like that, they get their feelings hurt or whatever. Like, because they're like, they're not there for the same reason I'm there. I don't care how I feel. I want to get freaking rich. And I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get there. And that means somebody's screaming in my face. I'm like, good, I'm going to take it.
It kind of reminds me of, you know, I use sports a lot, obviously coming from martial arts background, but you know, you watch a football coach, and Tom Brady's, you know, somebody I respect, obviously, from just watching him. And I would see, you know, he would allow himself to be coached really hard, right? Which to me is a great sign of a great player when you are the greatest and you let yourself be coached by someone. So, like, I feel most people don't know how to be coached hard, but also I believe some coaches don't know how to adapt their coaching style, right?
Well,
they can
the
only
other thing
coach
too, and
one
thing that, and I'll let you pick up on that in a second here, because Tom Brady specifically talked about this at GrowthCon when we had him. is he was like, I knew that if Belichick could do that to me, he could do it to anybody on the team. And that was important for the team to know that I wasn't exempt from being coached hard just because I was Tom Brady. Like him doing that to me gave him all the permission in the world to do that to anybody else.
And that's going back to alignment. So, and I've told that to Cameron. I was like, Cameron, when my former company, I had 54 full-time people. When I was hard on him and I would send him home and write him up or whatever, they knew like, well, if he's going to do that to Cameron, he'll do it to anybody. Speaking of which, I believe I might be the only person in the world, possibly. I was at Tom Brady's last regular season game. He played in Atlanta. He had to win the game to go to playoffs. I was at his last actual game because it was a playoff game in Tampa against Dallas. And then his first public talk was GrowthCon. I was at all three of those events. I might be the only person in the world that could say that.
I would guarantee you are probably the only person in the world that could say that.
Yeah.
Look
and
how
it was
unique
really,
you are, bro.
Yeah, it was, and it was really weird. It was really weird. His last regular season game, he has to win the game. This, by the way, this is some insight. I was 40-yard line, row 2 for the playoff game. It was a Monday night game when they played Cowboys. He actually played a decent game. He just didn't have the team wasn't healthy. He wasn't great. But his last regular season game, he has to win the game to get in the playoffs. And obviously, like his marriage and all that, everything's in the public eye. Like everyone kind of knew it was probably his last game. Because here's what's really weird. I've been to a lot of football games, and I have great seats when I at that stadium there. This is really weird. I've never seen this happen before. Every single the referees, they're supposed to be unbiased. Pre-game, are coming up to him and getting pictures. Pictures. This is his actual game that if you don't win, you don't make the playoffs.
Yeah.
They're getting pictures with him, getting him to sign footballs, which if this happened to anybody at any other time, they probably get fined or fired.
Yeah.
Right. And then and I'm like, how professional and focused, because even if you're the greatest, you take a little bit of your mind away from what you're about to do. And if you lose this game, you're not, and by the way, you're playing your rival, which is my team actually, which he beat us when he played for the other team in that Super Bowl in Houston. Oh my God, I don't want to talk about that. I'm a Falcons. I'm a frustrated Falcons fan for life. I'm a season ticket holder, and they will win a Super Bowl the year after I die. I just know this to be true.
Yeah.
So, but it was just really weird seeing how the respect that was paid to him, but he still had to play a game and win the game, and he was able to transform, obviously, and then do that.
Well, I mean, look, it's like the stories you used to hear about Michael Jordan, and he would go into like the opposing team's locker room before the game just to talk shit and try to get in the people, get in their heads, like. And because he was, I think those guys just operate they're in a different world. Like they don't need to go get in the zone. They are in the zone all the time. And they are playing a advanced game of chess with a bunch of people that are playing checkers. And
1,000% true. Yes.
They're playing mind games. They're doing all kind of stuff that average folk just don't, they can't resonate with.
I want to kind of stay on this idea, because I want to take it 2 different directions, of you just having this ability to take, things in stride. And because like I said, I've seen so much content. There's so many times I've been in the room even where I'm like, man, if I just had a bunch of Jarrods, I'm sure people said that to you. And I've said that about Cameron. If I had just 1,000 cameras, and I've made an intentional decision that I'm no longer hiring anyone just based on skill. It's just, they have to be growth mindset people. And I don't mind teaching and playing the long game. But Cameron's been with me for 16 years now, right? Wow. He was 9 years old as a kid in my program directly under so like I've raised him basically, so that's, he knows me. And I'm sure, Grant on a very personal level, like most people don't. You've probably seen him at times that, nobody has ever seen in that.
Yeah, of course.
You've also seen a lot of people come and go through the organization that I've seen Grant put on a pedestal and want to collaborate with and partner with, and which I've done the same in different industries I've worked with. And a lot of them are not there anymore. Obviously, the biggest one that has come along in the past few years is Brandon. I think Brandon has been a great connection and collaboration.
He is the ultimate example of of an amazing partner. I mean, he's done the most remarkable job with it, you know?
So when Brandon, before he collaborated fully, he came to a boot camp. It was right after GrowthCon. I sat in the same row with him and his wife. Him and I sat and talked in the little bar there at the JW.
Yep.
He has a martial arts background as well, so we talked about
Yep.
that. And this was before there's any like real deal between the two of those guys. And then of course now, a few years later, they've done amazing stuff in business. And that's I know it's another one of these platforms, part of that 700 million type thing. And he gets a lot of the kudos now and a lot of the limelight. It seems, from my perspective, that it doesn't affect, your role, your ego, you seem to be okay with that collaboration. Whereas a lot of people, I've seen
Brandon makes me a lot of money, bro.
Well, I'm with you on that, but I'm saying is even with money though, ego is ego when you're powerful people.
No, it ain't, dude. Like who am I? But like, if it is in that case, like you're an idiot. Like, how am I gonna have?
I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm on your
what am I gonna?
side.
I'm just saying, like, what
that.
am I gonna say? Like, oh, I've been around Grant longer. I wish he would edify me like that, or I wish, bro. Like, the reality is, Brandon sold his last business for 150 million bucks. He built that without any social media following. He's been involved and around he sold his business to a public company that was $1 billion market cap. He took it to 4 billion in 3 years. Like, how do you not have admiration and respect for that? Like, it's not even on the same level. Like in this particular example, I understand the point you're trying to make, like somebody new comes in and all of that, but like,
what about the ones who maybe come in the circle that aren't there? I guess what I'm trying to learn from you, I think some people have a, pre-wiring or whatever you want to call it, but how did you build the ability? Are you just that aligned with the mission of where you guys are going? Like, because I really want to know, like, how if this was going to all play out the same way as it has done, were you just destined to have the ability to do that, or is this something you had to develop yourself on your own? How would you reproduce yourself?
Listen, what you have to understand is that my perspective, everything that we do benefits me. Like everything that you see us doing, like there is benefit to me financially from every single one of those things. And so the exciting thing that I get to do is I get to quarterback through all of these relationships. Like I get to help facilitate JV deals for 10X Health because of information and relationships that I have or things that cross my line. I get to put together partnership deals and potential acquisitions for Cardone Ventures because of what I have. Like all of these things, stages, same thing. Like I get to do all of these. I feel like the funnest part of my job isn't just showing up and doing this every day. It's trying to figure out how I can leverage the relationships I have to feed to these other entities in these partnerships that we have in areas where they have a need and it's not being served. And I can leverage the relationship I have to fill a gap for them that elevates them. And by elevating them, it elevates me. So it's like, I don't look at anything that we're doing here as, oh, that's them, this is us. For me, it's all us. And so for me, it's like,
and I'm with you, and I see that in action. That is not the norm across the world, right? Like a lot of times people, and I'm saying that it's amazing to watch someone, stick true to that, and because yes, you get the reward and benefit from it. No, it's to me, it's powerful to watch.
I'll tell you
what
it is. I'll tell you what it is. I have zero desire, like acknowledgement, words of affirmation, recognition. Like that means something different to me than it does to some people. Some people need to have recognition. Some people need to have a lot of acknowledgement. Some people need to like have their face out there. I ain't one of those people. Like if I never had to shoot another video again in my life, it would be a happy day. If I could delete every social media platform I have right now, I would do it in a second. I do it and I don't like it. I'll just tell you straight up. Like I don't like doing it, but I do it because I know it's supporting this greater goal, bigger vision thing that I'm trying to do. So, if
Speaking of
somebody
which,
does, yeah,
I'm with you on that. I'm doing a 30-day social media fast right now, and the only way I could
yeah,
actually discipline myself is I deleted the apps.
yeah,
Now, fortunately, I got people that can keep doing the stuff for us.
sure.
But yeah, I mean, I'm with you on that too. I like I mean, I'd rather do this. You and I sit next to each other. I like just
Yeah.
people like,
Yeah.
you know,
1000%. I,
uh,
and me too, dude. Like another thing, I don't know. Maybe it is just the way I'm wired. Like I've never had the desire to have a lot of friends. Like I'm like, I don't need 100 friends. I don't need 500 friends. I don't
yeah,
need to go out to
amen.
dinner with a different couple every night of the week. Like I'm like, dude, give me like 10.
I don't even want
Like
10.
like give me a handful of people. I don't even need to see them all the time, but once a year when we go on a trip together, it's like we've been talking every day for 5 years.
I love this because these are conversations Cameron and I have. Like, I want a small circle, but I want depth. I want depth, right?
Yeah,
For
yeah,
example, I've been in around you. My first event, I think, was 2017. So that's 7 years or so. And I've been to a
yep,
lot of events. Um, even, went to Cabo and did mastermind there.
yep,
I've been to a lot of the high ticket items as well, too. I've never asked for a picture with you or with Grant because, and I go with people a lot of times and they're the kind of they just want to be like fanboys, which is awesome. You got to have those people, right?
yeah,
And so I've been fortunate to be around some high profile people through whether it be martial arts, like Dana White, people like that. Um, I don't want pictures. Like I want the
yeah,
story.
yeah,
Speaking of Jesse, this is a story. I don't know if you know, this is a pretty cool story because a lot of stuff that I haven't been able to maybe to share back with you guys is for example, I just bought a company a few months ago, taking lessons directly from Brandon, like literally bought a
yeah.
company. We will probably have an 8-figure exit in the next 36 months. And it's literally from the information and doing the exact process. And
Oh, that's amazing,
I'm
dude.
building the same model where as we exit, a lot of the team will be rewarded. But I was at GrowthCon with my team at Marlin Stadium, right? Which Grant talks about a lot because it's a calling card.
Mhm.
Um, Crazy event, obviously. And look, it was not the perfect event from the spectator side
No,
because, which you already know a lot of the stuff there, but
yeah,
I did some of it works as a funnel, right? And that one had a lot of different kind of people, but Jesse was a person I did not want to listen to. I didn't know who he was, some weird looking dude. He freaking blew me away, and he
yeah,
wasn't really prepared to even do mentorship, whatever. I was in his first group, and that same year, I'm listening to him being interviewed by somebody, and he talks about some of the stuff you mentioned earlier about him, about like if you can't do something every so often. I think he's called Kevin's rule.
yeah.
So the next morning, my daughter was at my mom's house, and I was working a promotional booth with my wife and son. We finished around noon. I was like, let's go do something spontaneous. I throw them in the car. They don't know what we're doing. I go inside. I like madman, throw a bunch of stuff in a suitcase. I don't know what the plan is. Throw the suitcase. They're like, what are we going? We're going to lunch. So I tell them, I go back inside. I get our dog in the crate, come back out. Now they're a little freaked out. And I get in the car and I get to the highway and I pick a direction. And I decide to drive to Atlanta, which is about 2 hours from where we lived at the time. On the way to Atlanta, I book a hotel that's dog friendly. We get to the hotel. It's in Buckhead if you've been to Atlanta.
Yeah, yeah.
And we get in and it's about 6 o'clock in early evening time. We go as soon as we get to our room. I have to go to the bathroom. In the bathroom, I'm like, "What's in town that we can do right now?" Oh, the Hawks are playing, and I'm in Jesse's first group mentorship group at this time.
Sure.
I'm like, "Oh, cool. They have my Jackson and Brooke hadn't been to an NBA game. We booked tickets, and I'm an experienced person. So if I'm going to go somewhere, I want the best seats.
Yeah.
So I find some seats. I find three. I go to buy them. I won't go through. I check my account. I don't have enough money to cover the tickets. I mean, like when entrepreneurs, you're pushing the envelope, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So I go on another app, find the same seats. They're like $50 less, whatever. I still don't have enough money. I push it again. It goes through. So I overdraft my account. All right. I come out of the bathroom and say, guys, we're leaving. We get in the car. We drive to State Farm Arena. We pull up. No one knows what we're doing. This is nothing's planned. Their eyes are big and wide. And Cameron can attest to this because this was just a few weeks after. Because by the way, I took my whole staff to that growth con and it cost me about $40,000 with Airbnb and tickets. That's
Yeah.
why I didn't have any money left because I was just like, I'm gonna force everybody to go learn some stuff, right?
Yeah.
So we get to the game. We're center court, 8 rows back. We have access to the private club below. So my Jackson, I think, is 9, I don't know, 8, 9 years old at the time. His eyes are big and wide. We go downstairs to this club. The starting lineup comes out. He high fives the whole starting lineup. Trey Young is one of them, right? We're sitting there, and then I look down and I see Jesse right there in front of us, 8 rows down. And I'm texting my team that went to GrowthCon because everybody was blown away with Jesse. They're all like, you got to go meet him. You got to do this. He leaves at halftime. He comes back. And I was like, I take my shot. I walk down there, did that little head nod. He looks at me, walks to me. He's like, hey, man, I saw your picture. He says to me, hey, I saw your picture on Instagram. Okay. He's like, where's your family? I'm like, they're up there. They're not even looking where I'm at. So we have to holler at them. They freak out. He brings them down to the court. For 15 minutes while the game's going on, him and I, after they did a picture, him and I had a conversation for 15 minutes. And I got to ask him whatever I wanted to about business or whatever. I bragged about how he talked. His talk was very inspirational for me. At the fourth quarter of the game, he walks up by himself, no entourage, says, hey, guys, come on. Now, we're 8 rows, and the rafters go up really high. The row we're on, apparently they come to games a lot because they're like, how do you guys know Jesse? I'm like, oh, we go way back. No big deal, you know. He walks us all the way up by himself to one of the stores, grabs the manager. He's like, hey, you know, here's my friend. He's like, here's my friends here. He's like, let them get whatever they want. And Jackson and Brooke are like, you know, really? He's like, yeah, go for it. I didn't want anything. I didn't get a picture. I sat
Yeah.
there for the next 15 minutes and asked him more questions. And so I got 30 minutes one-on-one with him. Since then, he follows me on Instagram. He will occasionally respond or sends me a DM.
Yep.
It's that was my son's first NBA game. His second game, he performed at halftime for the Hawks.
Wow.
His third game was in January of this year. We sat with Jesse this year when they played the Lakers, and my son got to watch LeBron play. So he's only been to 3
Wow.
games. So but that's a relationship, a collaboration or connection that you know, obviously I wouldn't have met that person without coming to an event. And I think that's happened to me so many times when I've shown up to be around you guys. And I don't want to be the fanboy. I want to take that information and be able to go prove that not only does it work and it's proof of concept, but that, you know, it doesn't, you know, I'm sure you guys get a lot of great feedback and you also probably get a lot of hate, all the above. But it's good for you guys to know that there's success stories happening sometimes that you guys don't even know. And sometimes it's not even about revenue. I've made money. But a lot of times it's just the relationships because that's ultimately what life's about, right? Those connections. Yeah. Hey, let me ask you this. What's the thing in life right now that you don't have that you want, that you're chasing beyond just financial success?
I mean, you know, just more time with my family.
Okay.
Like for me, the financial, I mean, that's my ultimate outcome is time and freedom with family.
What would you do with more time? Like, you're a golfer or what do you do or what do you like?
Yeah,
Or
I mean, I golf, I like to travel. You know, I'd love to homeschool the kids. Be with my parents, you know, like they're getting old, like do cool stuff. Have more experiences, spend more time, make more memories.
where's
You
that
know,
one place? Where's that one place you haven't gone you want to go?
man, I've been to a lot of really cool places.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
You know, like I haven't and then like I'm not the guy that always needs to go to a new place either. Like
I'm with you.
uh you know, I love Spain, like all over Spain. It's great. Marbella, Valencia, Madrid, San Sebastian. Greece is great. I'd like to go to Croatia, but like it wouldn't kill me if I didn't. I guess it would be cool to do something like in the Maldives or something like super out there like that. Been to Singapore, that was amazing. Malaysia, Australia. I mean, I've been to a lot of different cool places.
Yeah.
Uh, so there's not one place. I think
Have,
it's
have
really
you
like,
have you been to Augusta?
no, I have not played Augusta. I'd like to play Augusta is what I'd like to do.
All
Like
right.
going to Augusta would be cool. I want
You,
to play that thing.
I mean,
Uh,
you got plenty of connections. I'm sure that can happen.
I mean, like it would be great. It would be great.
I had an opportunity to play one time and I didn't play.
Yeah, that was a mistake.
It was a huge mistake. I was not a golfer at the time, and I
Yeah,
was
but I know, and you would never know either. And like I've heard stories about guys that they play, they get snuck on, they have to go on to like hole number two, and like there's all these like secret backdoor ways that people end up getting out on the course. Um,
have you been out there before?
I've never, no.
I should do that
I,
next year.
I enjoy like I don't know, maybe I would enjoy that experience, but like
It's the best
I
place
don't
on planet
like
Earth.
spectating so much. Like
I'm with you.
I enjoy playing golf. Like the idea of walking around a golf course. I mean, watching people hit great shots is fun and you can make an experience out of it, but like for some reason like Augusta for me, like that watching that tournament on TV, like on a big TV,
It's
super
powerful.
high
Yeah,
res,
yeah.
and just like with the barbecue, a cocktail, whatever, like, and just watching that event is just magic. I saw Tiger Woods win when he won most recently. We were actually out on, I had chartered a yacht and I was like, if this thing does not have cable, I'm not doing it. And it ended up having it. And I got to actually sit out. We were out on the boat here in Miami, and
That's
I
pretty
got to
cool.
sit and watch him win from inside the yacht. It was amazing. But look, like I think the places you go are for me, like the place I go is just the backdrop. It's for me, it's two things. It's who I'm with and it's what are we eating. Like I love food.
I'm
And
with you there.
like if like my wife will suggest a place to go on a trip to, and I'm like, food's not that great there.
Well, I would if you do me the honor, I'd love to take you to Augusta next year.
I'd love to go, dude.
I will tell you
I'd love to
this:
go.
I'm not a spectator guy either. And I was born and raised in Augusta and lived there half my life. Didn't really appreciate what it was. Uh, but I will say I've been all over the world too, probably maybe as much as you. Um, I've never seen anywhere as beautiful. And I can show you pictures on
Wow.
my phone. You're not supposed to have
Yeah.
a phone in
It
there,
does.
maybe,
Yeah,
you
it
know.
don't make it. Doesn't do it justice, I'm sure,
Yeah, but you don't want to go on a tournament day. It's too stressful, honestly. Like
Yeah.
you want to watch that on TV, and it's one of the, but it is a beautiful place. Hey, wrapping up here. First, I want to say thank you for your time.
Of course.
Um,
My
I
pleasure.
respect the hell out of you, man. You've done. I mean, I've never seen of all the stuff I've heard, good, bad, and ugly about, whatever when it comes to running companies and everyone's going to have their detractors. I will say that I've seen consistency from the company. Um, I've seen the people who really cared about people there, do exactly that. And you guys have a great family there, and I love seeing success, obviously, because it's inspirational for me,
Yeah.
and also love just the consistency that I've seen with Grant and with you over the years, and I've seen a lot of growth, just from the part I get to see. I've seen a lot of growth in you, and it's awesome seeing you with your family and seeing you just run the company in a great way. That's inspirational for me. My last question, I guess, as we wrap up is, uh, Grant's 66, if I do my math right.
Hmm.
He's in great shape, looks younger today than he did 10 years ago. I guess money helped
Hmm.
with that a little bit, maybe.
Money helps with a lot of
Uh,
things.
but if we fast forward at some point when he says, "Hey, look, I'm ready to, you know, to sell off into the sunset on his big old yacht," are you wanting to be the heir apparent, or at that time you ride off with the captain?
Yeah, I mean, I think like, the thing we're talking about now is, a $10 billion public company in 4 years. Um, when that happens, it's a massive liquidity event for me.
Yeah,
Um, and I, my relationship with Grant and Brandon at this point, like they run pretty deep because of how tight we are, and we enjoy being around each other. Like I don't think I couldn't do. I'm not the kind of guy. I'm 40 years old. Let's say that happens in 4 years or 5 years. I'm 45 years old. Like I'm probably not the guy that's gonna retire and do nothing and just live life. Like I'll get bored doing that. Um, and and I enjoy being with Grant and Brandon both. So as long as there's a role for me to to hang out, keep hanging out with them, and keep trying to put deals together and do stuff. I think it's going to be a hard group to get away from.
I like that. Hey, I appreciate your time. What's one thing that I can do to support you and your mission?
Bro, like you're the one of the reasons I said yes so quickly to this was because of what you represent. Like you're literally like the perfect example of come in, learn the material, execute on it, sell your business, make a bunch of money, start over again, doing something new, come out hot out of the gates with something that's already working again. It's just an example of what happens. And that's like the biggest reward that we get is seeing people that actually, like such a small percentage, and particularly in the business that you're in now, you see it more. Such a small percentage of people are actually willing to do it. And so like for a guy like you, that's why like, dude, we don't talk a lot. Like we're not hanging out with each other, but every time I see you, like I have an immediate connection with you. And I feel like this is a friend of mine because of what I know about you, because of what you've done. And those are just the type of people that I want to be around, is people that can go to war and come out with a victory on the other side of it, and then go do it again and put another win on the board. Like, like you said, like I don't need a big network of people. I don't need a lot of friends, but I want the people around me and the people that I associate myself with and the people that I spend time with to be winners, because that elevates me, it elevates them. And then I got to bring something to the table too. And so, seeing you impacting other people the way you are now, like the most exciting thing for me would be for you to come back and go, hey dude, my business doing 25 million a year. We're helping, we've helped, 1 million people do XYZ. Like those are the like far greater than any financial thing. Like the foundation, the stuff we're doing there, like being able to see these kids like get access to information that they've never heard of before. So our foundation works with at-risk underserved communities, with kids specifically. And like the paycheck from being in those rooms and seeing people change like that, like that's the biggest form of reward I could get. I'm past the point where money is like I'm thinking about money all the time. Like I do have money targets, but like I don't have to think about money anymore, other than how it funds my target.
It's
And
that
being
it's that
able to
it's that
change.
happiness quotient. You've already hit that, so it's just right.
Yeah, I mean, it's everything now is a net add. Like my only goal for money now is to make enough to invest it to where if I want to take 6 months off and go travel with my family and spend time with my parents, I can do it, not have to worry about money. And then plug back in. And I'm always going to be in a position where I want to be involved in businesses and ventures and things that help people, because I think that's what, if we could all get to the point where the money didn't matter and it was just what type of impact can you have and who can you help, I think the world would be a different place. Unfortunately, we live on an economic planet and rent's high, inflation's high, cars are expensive, just it costs money, and a lot of people can't get past that. And
Right.
so when you're in a position where you can help people do that, as you do know now, like when you can give that gift to somebody to be able to go out and create something where they're not in a rat race, they're not hand to mouth, they're not living paycheck to paycheck. It's like freaking, and then the stories that like hearing them change, like it's everything, dude. It's everything. And so just keep doing what you're doing, man. Just keep doing it at a bigger level, and keep
Well,
challenging yourself. And
I told you we're going to do 20 minutes, and I went way past that. So I
no,
want to
it's all
say,
good, dude. I had time blocked out. So
cool, man. I want to say thank you for your time. Hey, I know we're going to talk way before then, but I'm going to obligate you to Augusta next year, and I'm going to pick you up.
I'm
And we're
in.
going to go. We're going to have a good time there.
I'm in.
Hey, Jarrod, I want to say thanks for your time, man. And man, I can't wait to talk to you in the future.
Yeah, it's gonna be great, man. Best of luck.
All right, man. Thanks, Jarrod.